of the law that you're talking about. I am a very cautious optimist in this regard, and I get ribbed all the time for being too optimistic by progressive colleagues of mine who really say this is just either corporations beating each other up or corporations beating up the little guy or the government beating up the little guy. I think that the reason that I'm such an optimist about this is the context in which I cut my teeth, which is to say, when I look at the gay rights context, I see a tiny minority in this country. So if we look at gays as a group, I mean, estimates range, but they range between 4% and 10%, right? So we have a population that is somewhere between the Asian American population and the African American population in this country, right? So a very, very small minority of the country. It would be so easy for this country, as many, many other countries have done, to just say, we're not going to have rights for these people. What, gay people are doing is not something that, the Constitution is going to protect. It's not something that our civil rights laws are going to protect. And in fact, when the cases first start coming up before the Supreme Court, this is what our own United States Supreme Court says. So, I was in high school when this case was decided, but in 1986 in Bowers versus Hardwick, a sodomy case comes up for the first time to the United States Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruling 5-4 says that the sodomy statute is constitutional. And essentially what Justice White, writing for the court, says is, and here I'll quote, to say that these people have rights is, quote unquote, at best facetious. So he's saying not only that these claims are without merit, but these claims are laughable, they're risible. He laughs us out of court, And that's in 1986. So if you think about what's happened between 1986 and 2 decades later, 21 years later in 2007, the landscape has shifted so dramatically that even within the lifespan of one individual, we see a complete turnaround in the way that this powerless minority is regarded in the society. And I think that that is what ultimately makes me into such an optimist with respect to all other areas of the law. And so when, cases like, Hamdi or Hamdan come down, these were the 2 cases and about the Guantanamo detainees. And the first one, if you cobble together a majority of the court, although they weren't able to put together a clean majority on this, they said, at least some form of due process has to apply to citizens who are being detained. And then the second case, they said that similar kind of due process rights had to be guaranteed for other detainees on Guantanamo Bay. I look at those cases and I think, yes, this is familiar to me. It's the same country that gave me the gay rights cases. Whereas I think other people are always kind of surprised that, the Supreme Court is intervening on behalf of an individual, on behalf of the little guy against an overweening government. So I am an optimist for this. I am generally, I think, by temperament an optimist, but here also I think that I have a history and a context that allows me to be more optimistic than many of my other peers. So if you look at people who've cut their teeth on the death penalty or on immigration issues or racial profiling, then I think that the picture is a lot more grim, and I understand why those individuals are much less sanguine about where we're going to go in the future. But I was fortunate enough to be in a particular place in a particular time where there was a litigation explosion, an area I cared passionately about, that went my way.
Yeah, man, we're there again, Believe you me, Jamaica busy. Jamaica busy, especially Kingston, man. We keep saying it, there's not a lack of things to do. And we are talking about from Sunday to Sunday. And you have a next day? Yes. Things are going on in Kingston. Enough. We want to yell up all the people who set up and listen to it every Wednesday night. Give thanks for that. For 27 years. We give thanks for that too. This month, at 27 years since we sit down here, so. Them really, and the program no drop. It no drop. We say YouTube 10 million log on panel of the program. 10 million people from all over the world. We give thanks for that. So, this weekend is a weekend where whole heap of ones are wait for. People come from foreign, enough people there in Jamaica come for go to National Stadium for see Buju Banton. We say the place pack already and the gate them not open yet. No tickets will be sold at the gate. Well, heap of regulations for that one, yeah. Believe you me. You know, the stadium hold 30,000 people. That's where the stadium hold, 30,000 people. But they might talk about sitting in a grandstand and bleachers. They might talk about how they feel, how much people can hold on the field. There's enough people can hold on the field. I don't know, the feeling is normal again after Saturday, you know, the feeling is normal again. You understand? I hear to the grandstand ticket, them gone. How much thousand them say can hold in a grandstand? Must say 5,000 in a grandstand. Not to mention upon the field. Believe you me. So, big things, big things. Everybody are wait for hear and see where the Gargamel go say. And you say the rehearsal them is heavy. Meanwhile, with all of that we are going now, we'll go across the road over in South America, Venezuela, and the intended coup against a sovereign country by none other than America again. Trumped up coup. Them trumping up some things, especially the shortage of food. And you know them have a formula to do these things. Yeah, America have a formula to do these things. In every country, them spread the propaganda. Say first of all, them start to say the leader is a dictator, which most of them is, but not really wrong if he's a dictator still. Because really and truly you have democratic country where the leader go on worse than dictator. And not only that, you have leaders in a democratic country where people despise, like the one now in America. So dictator don't make you a bad man automatically. But that's the first thing them do. Them start to talk about your dictator and them want a legitimate democratic government. That is where them start with. And then after them start to do that, now you see them start to know, them try assassinate you, which them start to do that, the president already, them try a thing with a drone, and it never work. And then you see them start to do now, food shortage is a formula them use, food shortage. You see that in Jamaica already. Yes, it did happen in Jamaica already, where you couldn't go in a supermarket and see nothing on the shelf, them and them start. So the more the people them don't see food, is the more them cost the government in power. So them start the food shortage thing, and then them start now some squibbling with the people them, start to incite certain things and incite things, people against people. And this is no different in Venezuela right now. If you watch the mainstream radio, if you watch the mainstream TV and listen to the mainstream radio them, it's amazing the things them I say. It's amazing. And then when you look on the reality of the situation, like CNN I talk about how food charge and thing, and you have an underground news. Them actually put a man in a supermarket and couple man in a supermarket, show you say, oh, them I say the food shortage and everything we them get in America, I'm getting at the supermarket. You know, them have a border between Colombia and Venezuela there where them are send food. The American them are send food because them always have the food for send. For boost up for them way and make the people them feel good for bringing America here the more invitation for America to come in and overthrow a legitimate government. We hear how America go on when them say Russian involvement in a them election. You can never believe, say, the same country where ball out about people involvement in a them election like Russia is the same country now we are involved in a people country where the government was legitimately voting and was sanctioned by CARICOM leaders who send representatives there to oversee the election. When them come back and tell you, say, it was a fair election. CARICOM leaders, people go down there during the election. But when I forget, say, it's these same people that I try to get rid of Chavez. They was getting rid of Chavez and it never worked until later on. But the country was really prospering. Now, them actually come out and say, it would be wonderful if some of the American oil companies, them, could get the oil in Venezuela. Them now hide that again. Them now hide that again like how them try hide the Iraq thing, like how them try hide America have sanctions against them, just like how them did have sanctions against Cuba for 40 years. And them try kill Castro for 40 times them try kill Castro and it never work. So when we look on the news where these people send in your psyche, you almost feel like say some devil run them country there. Nothing looking upon who are run America. And you see them gather people to come on them side and, you know, the people them who can control media and control the minds of the people continuously. Wow, it's terrible. It's terrible how them do that. Because you can't talk to certain people. I mean, when I say certain people, you can't talk to certain people who politically inclined to tell them, say, look here, what is happening in Venezuela now is a trumped up. It's not real. It's not real. It is designed to start a coup and install a puppet that is American puppet. And that's what them do. If you can show me any country in the world where America invade and after America invade is a good, better country. And the person them install is a better person than the person that was there. Show me one country. Show me one country where America invade. And when them done invade it, the people them is better off. Look how long them try to get rid of Castro. And who get asylum in Florida, the Cuban them who get asylum in Florida, you would have believed that them represent Cuba at its totality. If you look at them people, you don't never know, see you have black people in Cuba. Black people, I say black people, I talk about like how Jamaican black people, black. The majority of Cuban is black people, African, in them identity. But when you hear all them talk about Cuba, you'd have said, no, sir. We grew up for believe that Castro is a devil. We grew up in a Jamaica for believe that Castro is a devil. Yet still, there's no illiteracy in Cuba. Them health service is much 1,000% better than America. Them health service. The doctors them and the nurse them in a Cuba 100% better than America. And as an island, they were able to go into Africa with them army to resolve whole heap of the issues them with in Africa. Mozambique, Angola, South Africa, and these places. Cuba was sending a little island 90 miles off of the coast of Negril, so was sending armies. But when America tell you about Castro, devil. Not to mention Gaddafi. Not to mention Gaddafi. Look on Libya right now. When Clinton and them conspire to get rid of, as a matter of fact, I'm telling them all them terribly, you know. The little brother they don't have, what name? The brother they where Trump did a cuss the other day from down Florida there. Little short brother there. Him actually put up a picture of Gaddafi being sodomized with not man sodomize him with man, but objects are sodomize and kill him. And I said, this is the fate of the present Venezuelan Prime Minister. Yes, big politician, Republican politician do that. Where we get is from America, continuously flowing from America. Gaddafi is a devil in the eyes of America because that is how them sell it. Yet still we know and we understand, say, the people them in a Gaddafi have certain privileges where America don't have. Don't have. The people them in America don't pay light bill. Them gas is couple cent, not dollars, couple cent. Them where them go at the pump. The amount of PhDs will come out of Libya under Gaddafi. And when them decide, say, he must link Africa with the gold as opposed to with the dollar, that is when him become now like a problem. It was a problem all the while. We now gonna make them vilify people and then make we now go against them people there. You know them have a saying, say, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And really and truly, if you look upon the people them where America put in, remember all the Shah of Iran, remember El Salvador, Nicaragua, Chile, all them places, Jamaica, all them places that was touched by America imperialism. And them survive without America. Look at Iraq. You know, the biggest lie that ever been told. Look at Iraq. How can we forget Iraq out of the psyche when America put it up on the screen and have a black man? As a matter of fact, he is Jamaican too. Well, not really, but yeah, him have Jamaican blood in him. Them have him, Colin Powell, assure you the movement of the weapons of mass destruction that Saddam Hussein have. And them a move it by truck and a carry it this one and put it this one and them something there. And them go into the country and blow up the whole place and mash it up. Ancient Iraq, most of the things them were in the Old Testament, from the beginning of the Bible, most of the places geographically is in Iraq. Them used to call it Mesopotamia in those days. Babylon. Now Babylon is demonized by people who is very Judeo-Christian minded. Babylon is demonized. Because even Rasta fall in that category where anytime you say Babylon, you talk about somewhere wicked. But Babylon, the wickedness of Babylon is in the eyes of Jewish thinking, Jewish mindset. So those who take that Jewish mindset into a religious perspective speak of Babylon as a wicked place because the Babylonians, them, supposed to they despise the Jews. At time Rasta come out of that thinking, but it not go come out because years it did. Well, our politics can come out still. The man say Babylon, he might talk about a wicked place. But Iraq it there. Or at the Chaldees, another place. Most people hear about Ur through Abraham, the father of Israel and Israelite, the Jews, and father of the Arabs. Them say Ur. Ur and Abraham came out of the Ur at the Chaldees. And him come into a land that them say God give him, go in and inhabit the land, flowing with milk and honey. So right away you see the invaders coming at the land already. Ur is in Iraq. Then you have the Euphrates River. 4 rivers run it out of the Garden of Eden, encompass the garden. And one of them is Gishan, where them say encompass the whole land of Ethiopia. And them the Euphrates is Iraq that. And the man them go in Iraq and march down the whole place, devastate it and kill the leader. And it's them did arm him for fight against Iran. Them was arming him for fight against Iran. Up to now, them still have Iran on the table as one of the terrorist countries who feed terrorism. How can we believe these people when them have a list? Them have a list of things what them do in the earth here where devastate people land and cause death and destruction when them leave. But people fight against one another. People who never used to fight against each other start to fight against one another because of them supposedly trying to bring democracy to a people that is not inclined to be democratic. Because them history and them legacy never imprinted with a Roman ideology of how to govern people. Because democracy come out of Rome. Just like the concept of Christianity is Rome it come out of. When the Romans them invade so-called Jerusalem, the Romans invaded after the Greeks and the Greco-Roman ideas and the Greco-Roman concepts of what we now consider to be right and wrong was imprinted there. And we take it as our own and convince ourselves that this is the only way to go. In the name of democracy and in the name of Jesus. And when we look on the countries them that practice democracy and the countries them, the people them that give us Christianity, these things have caused more devastation upon the earth than any other ideology that you can find. Any other ideology. Not to mention what Christianity do with our parents. But after 400 years, them think we're all dead and gone, but we're not there. We are the ones we have been waiting for. I am my ancestor. My ancestor is I. So them can't get rid of it. So you kill it today, you can't kill it tomorrow. You kill it today, you can't kill it tomorrow. So we're there until. And we'll see and we understand. Can you imagine if what we know now, we knew it then? Oh, what a reversal things would be. Can you imagine if we knew what we know now, we didn't know then? But we're going to fight still. We're not stop. Because we're confident in the victory of good over evil. We are confident in the victory of good over evil. Haile Selassie said that, and we accept that. Black people, watch what them do with your mind, with your thinking. You know, Steve Biko will keep repeating it over and over. We'll not stop repeating it. Steve Biko, that great South African liberator, say, the greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. The greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. And that is really where the game they know. That is really where the war there. The war is where they call it brainwashing, like your brain's dirty, so they might wash it. And only we allow them to wash it because all we can think is we think in reverse. That is what we are doing. We are thinking in reverse. We're not moving forward. We're moving in reverse. So we give them the power. White people function off of power. And we know, and them said, Lord Acton said, power corrupt and absolute power corrupt absolutely. But we have to have power. We have to have power just like them say power corrupt. It don't necessarily have to corrupt. Just like what them say, the love of money is the root of all evil. Which part we they know? Which part we they know? When we look upon the situation in America, we see the great icons. We have to say the great icons them because that is what the people them see in front of them. Michael Jackson, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Ja Rule, 50 Cent, you name them. And we not condone what it is supposed or alleged to take place with these brother, but when we look on the list of men, white men, who get trapped into those things, pedophiles and, you know, women disgracing the woman, them and all them things there. Why is it that the men, them who is white, it's almost like them get a tap on the shoulder and them go business as usual. But when you look on the newspaper, when you look on the television, these black men who is supposed to have the same criminal record are charged for the same thing. It's most of the black man them you see it all over the place. Like the latest one now is R. Kelly. How the hell R. Kelly find himself in these things? Me remember Bill Cosby. But look on the guys them now because we read the other day where them say 70% of the little youth them in Hollywood was get touched. 70% of the young actors when them just come in Hollywood as children, them get touched. And Kelvin Spacey him say, them just accuse him that he have pedophile. And him a say, if him go down, the whole of Hollywood will go down. I threaten Hollywood. Him say, if him go down, the whole of Hollywood go and go down. Kevin Spacey. We look at that way. Me love watch her, Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock, she name? Yeah, Sandra Bullock. Pan Ellen DeGenerate. Yes. I talk about what It's a weird thing, man. These people, it's some weird things. But it's like them get a pat on the shoulder and people will see it as something where I mean, where these people feel, I mean, we hear some things about Africa, you know. It's not hurt me about it, you know. We hear some things about Africa, you know, and people say, them people, they backwardy. Like you hear all people say, African man, if them have gonorrhea, them feel say if them have sex with a virgin, them will get rid of the gonorrhea. That is a topic all over the place. All in Jamaica, you have people who believe that. And we have said, what kind of how people can believe them foo something there? And we were at the time and say, yeah man, and most black people I think that. That is where the next argument, you know, is that it's most black people I think that. But when you look on the television and you see actors, people all up as icons, and like you see them every day on your television screen and you love how them act and they are millionaires because of what them do. And you see a woman sit down on the TV and I tell you, say, yes, this is circumcision. Well, I say it grows to the car grows, so I'm not going to say it, you know, I'm not going to say it. First of all, them feel say if you drink the blood of young, which is a thing going on in a whole heap of tribes. I can't how people say tribes. Because sometimes when you say tribe, it don't relate to Europe, you know. That is really the problem with saying tribe. When you say tribe, it come like white people are involved in tribe. Me go to Finland, go buck up on some tribe, and them people, they white like my teeth. And them talk about tribes. But we never usually hear about tribes relating to Europe. We hear about tribes relating to indigenous people of like Australia or Africa and places. Anyway, these people, I talk about Hollywood now. Hollywood. And I can play the tape, which I'm going to play it eventually. But Hollywood, there's a thing going on in Hollywood where them searching for the fountain of youth. Them want to be young continuously. So them have all sort of thinking where we feel them young. And one of the things is to drink the blood of young children. And them swear to it. Swear to it. And also, them use the circumcised, because all of them people are Jew, you know, are Jewish. All of them actually, all of them actually are Jew. And you know, most Jews are atheists. I am told that by Jews. And that's, when I was told that by Jews, I went and see a box pop, Jews in Israel, who don't care a damn about this Jewish Yahweh and John and all these things. They don't care about that. Anyway, these people in Hollywood, and it's a big amount of people, because I tell you, say, I watch this thing for Ellen DeGenerate with Sandra Bullock, where them feel, say, the circumcised flesh of the child penis is a good antidote for youth when them put it upon them face. You hear what I say? You don't believe what I say? I'm going to play it. Them use the flesh of the circumcised child as almost like a cosmetic. Cosmetic. I am sitting there and I watch Sandra Bullock as a woman who me love watch her movie there. She have one name box, something another box. I want the movie name box, some box. Anyway, that me I say about weird. How them talk about African, Aboriginal, Amerindian, Native American. How them talk about them like as some backward, uncivilized people. And these people is the epitome of what America is. These actors is epitome of what America is. And for them idea to stay beautiful is to use the circumcised. And they must swear by it too. I mean, I said no work, but I just say, if we reach this, so we have to avocado. we have to avocado and turmeric and all them stuff there. Then the day when them start use coconut oil, remember them tell us coconut oil like this and coconut oil like that. And it's like hip thing. It's a hip thing for you start to use coconut oil in your ear and on your skin and all them something there. And we don't use coconut oil for a long time, and them said don't use coconut oil because it will give you cholesterol and all them something there. And then them come down here, come wipe out the whole of the coconut tree them. And give canola oil and all them, soya bean oil and all them something there, vegetable oil and no vegetable. Terrible, terrible. So, I am watching this thing and I say, but wow. No, this is where it reach. This is where it reach. Because if them can now admit, say 70% of the children them will grow big now in Hollywood, 70% of them went under some pedophile, what them call it, baptism. It's almost like a baptism, a pedophile baptism. And them own is coming out now and saying, look here, if me go down, the whole of Hollywood will go down. And we see the whole heap of executives from television, from Hollywood, where them charge or them accuse them of child molestation or when the girls them the young rape them. But guess what? They are not criminalized. They're not criminalized. Like how we hear about Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson say him can't understand why them saying these things about him. And when him looking at the mirror, he might say, a black man, him knows him black. They might say, oh, him bleach. Hey, why? May I tell you now? Science and technology is so beautiful that you can go back, go hear the voice of a dead person that talk about himself. That's one of the reasons why I don't really object to them whole interview when I get from the other day. It's because I talk about myself in my own voice and don't wait till you pass, no hear people that said this and people that said that. I never said that. So when you look on all YouTube, you know, say Muta did say this, and a Muta voice you hear. So I listen to all these people now and I say, but wait. Michael Jackson supposed to be this pedophile. Him bleach him skin. And me I listen to some things about Michael Jackson and you'd never believe that Michael Jackson. One time you'd wonder how Farrakhan hold up Michael Jackson and all them security around him, a black Muslim and all them something there. People talk some things because Michael Jackson reached the pinnacle of what them would have liked to be. So when they make you, them can break you. And then you have others. And one of the biggest one is Bill Cosby. Who don't love Bill Cosby, Rasta? The Bill Cosby show. One of the biggest things ever happened for black, what them call it, black solidarity and black family and usually it's a gang thing and yo and oh and nigga and not like that not in a Bill Cosby show. And look where them carry him go. Look where them carry him go. And they in the newspaper, they in the TV, they in your face. He just a running on your face. So every day it a running on your face. It's a serious thing. You know, and we can mention others. We can mention others will come. Because America have a way of build you up there so. And then when them realize that you get too big for your shoes to ride, they must blop and let you go. Boof. You drop a ground. Just like what them do the leaders, what them feel say, what them call dictators. You're a dictator, you're not democratic. And you know the weirdest thing? Most of the people them who them a try overthrow was there by popular vote. Most of the leaders them with them try, like the one now where them a talk about. Madura, however him name. Him win the election, and the people them who oversee election say them not see nothing wrong with it. And them come impose somebody. One guy who used to live in America and study in American school and all them. Them always find somebody like that for putting a power to say him you want in there. And them going to tell the people them in the country say, this man you have to rule you, that man you can't rule you, this man you have to rule you. Me I tell you, it's sad. It's sad. This is the Cutting Edge on RFM.
Rum bar, white overproof rum. The new taste are the best and the sauce. And you know when we raise in the bar, put it somewhere them can.
So I can see. All we need vision to see. You know them way there. So we're going to Pat Clark. We're going to Pat Clark with the Jamaica Roots and Culture feature. Here we go.
Welcome to Jamaican Roots and Culture. I'm Pat Clark. Many people in the black diaspora are familiar with the poetry of internationally acclaimed Jamaican dub poet Mutabaruka. His poems have given voice to the oppressed and helped forge an entirely new genre of music, dub rhythm poetry. Revolutionary, fiery, scathing, and stinging, Mutabaruka's words are as potent on paper as on CD, and so the literary community needed to create a new term just for his works, Meta Dub. Mutabaruka was born Alan Hope on December 26, 1952 on Victoria Avenue, Kingston. He grew up in the Raytown and Jonestown communities with his mother. Muta attended the Wesley Primary School but unfortunately lost his dad at the tender age of 8. He would spend weekends with his grandmother where he would play with his cousins. They made kites and followed the Salvation Army marching band around the community. This made their weekends fun and fulfilling. On Saturdays, Muta would go with his grandmother to the Coronation Market where she sold ground provisions. On weekday evenings, his mom would take him with her to the movies. To this day, one of his favorite pastimes is watching movies. While still at the Wesley Primary School, Muta and a group of 6 students represented the school in the Jamaica Festival dancing competition where they did the quadrille dance. The group won a gold medal for their performance and went on to showcase their performance at the Agency for Public Information, now JIS. This marked Muta's initiation into stardom. After leaving primary school, Muta went on to the Kingston Technical High School where he received training in electronics. In first form, one of his teachers, Miss Pusey, gave the class an assignment to write a poem. She asked Muta to stand and read his poem in class. She was delighted by what she heard and gave him a tick as a reward. This became one of the motivating forces behind his writing. As Mutabaruka matured, his writing became more extensive, and it was during this period that he wrote his most famous poems. He began submitting his poems for publication in the Swing magazine. Eventually, one was published and received rave reviews. Johnny Golding approached Muta and suggested he put a poem in the magazine monthly. Muta began researching other poets and took the name Mutabaruka from a Rwandan poet, Jean-Baptiste Mutabaruka. Mutabaruka means one who is always victorious. His quest includes being victorious in re-educating black people, especially those from a colonial past, so that they may regain the necessary confidence to empower themselves in order to excel. Mutabaruka's outspoken statements on theology and the oppressive roles played by religious institutions have generated much controversy. Although he is a non-smoker, Mutabaruka has campaigned for the decriminalization of ganja. In 2016, the government of Jamaica awarded Mutabaruka the Order of Distinction Commander Class, one of the highest distinctions in the country, in recognition for his cultural contribution. And now, to end Jamaican roots and culture, here's our famous black quotation. This poem shall speak of the wretched sea that washed ships to these shores, of mothers crying for their young, swallowed up by the sea. For Jamaican Roots and Culture, I'm Pat Clark.
Hey, Shane, me not joke with you, Rasta. Shane, you know, say, every week when me say me I go play Pat Clark, them have a topic written as when me I go play, so me can introduce it, a topic. You know, say, Shane deliberately not put no topic on the wire today, though. So me just play it. Hey, Shane, if I put topic on the thing, then that I must know if I must play it or not, you know. Because I want to know me wouldn't play it. Maybe that's why I never put no topic on it. Because you know, say, if it's the topic, I wouldn't play it. It's it weird. If you're not going to listen to somebody talk about you, know, trust me. Yeah, anyway. That is part of the whole thing. So we are continuing this thing, you know. So here we are going to do now. We are going to play some ad. And we're going to play an analysis of why black men, and it is specifically a deal with the American situation, but it goes for everywhere. Why black men or how black men end up broke and trapped. How black men end up broke and trapped is an analysis of R. Kelly, and not only R. Kelly, but black men in general who America trap and them end up broke. So why take a while and listen to this thing, you know, because I think this brethren is one of the best analysis of what happened to black people in America when them reach the pinnacle of them stardom and then just fall down like a mango upon a tree, like a breadfruit, just drop and splatter. So we all come forward to that. Take a keen listen. Because, you know them way there, we play them thing up to make people have an insight and also if you awaken them consciousness and them conscience. Okay, so we'll come forward to it. Why black men end up broke and trapped into that American system. Okay? This is the Cutting Edge on IRFM. So we'll talk about how when black people do some terrible things in America, them bring it up more than when white people do the same things them. And we even can talk about the shooting them. When black people and brown people get off and shoot people, you hear say them is terrorists. But when white youth going at school or going at church and kill people, you hear them need some psychological evaluation. No. That the place they're rough, you know. Yeah, man. White youth go in that place and shoot up the place. Kill the student them. Or a man stand up on a high building and just start fire shotting at concert. Them just hold them and say them need some psychological evaluation. A black man shoot two men on the road, you hear say, boy, I'm a terrorist, criminal. You need to put him down. So, we say we're going to play this tape, yeah? We're going to play this thing, yeah? Why listen to it? Because I find it very interesting that the evaluation and where the man actually has a deal with as it relates to not only R. Kelly, but black people, black man in general, will find themselves trapped in a white world. Trapped in a white world.
Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. This is the BlackChannel.net radio program, and I am, of course, your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to have you all with us here this evening. Got a few things I would like to discuss with you here, but something in particular I would like to deal with first. You know, it's been a momentous week, and there's been a lot to cover, and there's been a whole lot to cover. But, and to be totally honest with you, I really wanted to discuss something very different. I've been wanting to talk about this shooting that happened up there in Illinois last week. And things just keep coming up and whatnot. Kamala Harris, Jussie Smollett, so on and so forth. And eventually I would like to get around to that. I really would. But I just feel that at this time, it's more pertinent that I cover something else instead. As I was perusing around things and whatnot and looking them over, I couldn't help but notice this article from Rolling Stone magazine. And at this hour, at least, at this hour, it, as of at least a couple hours ago, Robert R. Kelly, R&B sexual deviant extraordinaire, has found himself unable to make bail. He was arrested here Friday. His bail was set at $1 million. And for those of you who are not familiar how bail works, typically you have to get about 10 to 12% to give to a bondsman, unless you're going to pay the whole bail amount yourself. So, R. Kelly has been unable in the last 48 hours to be able to get together $100,000. He was unable to get together $100,000, even though he knew he was going to turn himself in. Even though he knew it. He knew he was going to turn himself in. He had hired an attorney. He walked into that jail and does not have $100,000 he can lay his hands on. Now, I gotta tell you that most people in an upper middle class income bracket got at least $100,000 in savings. A lot of us have at least $100,000 in savings. R. Kelly has been cranking out platinum albums now for 2 decades and is unable to put his hands on $100,000 in cash. And it really begs the question of why. Really begs the question why. And there's a lesson that I want you to learn here, because I want to thread the needle from Michael Jackson to O.J. Simpson to Bill Cosby to R. Kelly to Ja Rule to 50 Cent. We can keep going. I want to thread the needle on that. And I am going to insist that people pay attention If anybody wants to be a comedian in the chat room, I'd recommend that you don't. That's an easy way to vanish. I'm very serious about what I'm talking about tonight. Now, please remember, I was the original person back when it was unpopular. I was the guy saying that R. Kelly was guilty of all these things back before it was popular. Check my record. I've been doing it for over a decade. I was saying it back way before it was popular, when everybody else was telling me I was just hating. I was doing this over a decade ago. I didn't play around about it. So I'm not one of these people who's been one of these R. Kelly zombies. There's a lesson that I want you to learn. There's a lesson I want you to see about this. I want you to understand this. Because there's a method to the madness, and anybody watching this and listening to this, I want you to understand. Now, what I want to do here first is I want to read to you from this particular story in Rolling Stone magazine, because here's a part that caught my attention. The story here by Daniel Krebs. Following a bail hearing Saturday, R. Kelly spent a second night in jail after the singer failed to pay the $100,000 needed to bond out prior to his trial. Kelly turned himself in to Chicago police Friday night after being charged with 10 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse. The singer remained behind bars that night, awaiting Saturday's bond hearing, with the judge handing down a $1 million bail. Kelly only needed to pay 10% or $100,000 in order to be released. However, Kelly's attorney, Stephen Greenberg, told Media Saturday that the singer's finances, quote, were a mess, the Chicago Sun-Times reported. Quote, he's trying to get it together, Greenberg said, adding that Kelly has struggled for money since his record label dropped him. Quote, he's trying to get it together. He doesn't have it sitting in the bank, sitting in a shoebox, sitting anywhere. This is someone who should be wealthy, Greenberg said. I don't even think he owns the rights to I Believe I Can Fly. I'm quoting his attorney. This is someone who should be wealthy. I don't even think he owns the rights to I Believe I Can Fly. Kelly ultimately spent Saturday night in custody. Kelly had another opportunity to pay his bond Sunday morning at 9 a.m. However, as of late Sunday afternoon, that's now, Kelly was still in custody. His advisor, Don Russell, confirmed to Rolling Stone. The Cook County Sheriff's Office inmate database shows Kelly as still behind bars. His next court date is February 25th, when he'll reportedly be assigned a judge and enter a plea. In a press conference Saturday, state's attorney Kim Fox detailed the charges against Kelly, with the 10 counts drawn from his encounters with 4 women, 3 of whom were underage at the time. 2 of the alleged victims provided authorities with evidence that potentially contains Kelly's DNA, reportedly his semen. Now, there's a point to this that I want to make, because most people don't really know what they're talking about where this is concerned. Most people really have no idea. Don't really know what's happening about it. But what I want to do next is I want to go to CNN. CNN has a story that they're doing about this, or one that they've done about this here. CNN has one. And on their website, it says, R. Kelly fails to make bail. This is the headline. R. Kelly fails to make bail. Child support, overdue rent among his many money problems. The article at CNN says R. Kelly, one of the most successful R&B acts of all time, was still in jail Sunday afternoon after he failed to immediately produce the $100,000 in cash required to make bail. A judge in Chicago set Kelly's total bond at $1 million on Saturday, a day after he was indicted on 10 counts of aggravated sexual abuse against 4 victims. Kelly's bond was set at $250,000 for each of the alleged victims in the case. To leave police custody, he's required to pay 10% of the total, or $100,000. Steve Greenberg, Kelly's attorney, told reporters after Saturday's bail hearing that he was, quote, very happy with the bond and that it seemed fair and reasonable given the allegations. But Greenberg said his client, quote, really doesn't have any money at this point due to mismanagement, hangers-on, and bad deals. Let me read that again. R. Kelly's attorney says that his client, quote, really doesn't have any money at this point due to mismanagement, hangers-on, and bad deals. He added Kelly would ultimately be able to come up with the required $100,000. He's trying to get it together, Greenberg said. He doesn't have it sitting in the bank. Illinois does not have bail bondsmen, Greenberg pointed out. So for those of you who didn't know, Illinois does not have bail bondsmen. The next part of the article says singer owes thousands in unpaid child support. Kelly's money problems don't stop with his bail. According to court documents reviewed by CNN, Kelly owed more than $169,000 in unpaid child support to his ex-wife as of February 6th. The court ordered Kelly to make a monthly payment of $20,000 on January 8, 2009, but Kelly failed to show up for that hearing, as per court documents. To avoid being held in contempt of court, a judge ordered he pay $161,663 by March 6. Greenberg told CNN his client, quote, does not have to pay the child support before getting out. Quote, the state is trying to make him do that, or they were, Greenberg said, but the judge said no. Singer also faced eviction from his studio. Kelly also risked eviction at his Chicago studio last month because he owes more than $166,000 in unpaid rent. Court documents show a judge signed an eviction order in January. The documents show Robert Kelly needed to move out on or before January 21st, but Kelly was still at the studio minutes before he turned himself into police on Friday night. The eviction process began in July 2018 when the landlord, Midwest Commercial Funding LLC, said Kelly defaulted on the lease by initially failing to pay more than $79,000 in rent. The back rent continued to pile up, and the judge finally signed off on an eviction notice. Now, for a guy who's had decades of platinum albums, for a guy who's had decades of millions of dollars generated, the very next question that comes up is, where in the hell is the money? Because it's one thing if you don't pay the child support. That's one thing if you don't do that. It's scummy, but it's one thing if you don't do that. It's one thing if you don't pay the rent at the studio, although if you are still staying at the studio, I don't know why you're not paying the rent and still going to the studio. But brothers and sisters, when somebody puts you behind bars, we're going to find out if you actually got some money. Because nobody's going to stay in jail 1 second longer than they absolutely have to. So if he's in jail because he hasn't paid the $100,000, that's the issue. That's the issue. He's got enough money to pay his lawyer, but the retainer for the lawyer is far less than the bail that they're asking for. Notice his cutoff seems to be at that $100,000 mark. Probably half that amount. Probably half that amount. No, this ain't like 50 Cent. 50 Cent wasn't sitting behind bars pleading poverty. 50 Cent went to bankruptcy court to get away from judgments. Nobody held him in jail and said, you can't leave until you pay this. If he had the money to pay it, he'd be doing it. So let's just get past the garbage here. If he had the money to pay it, he'd be free right now. So I know for some of the slow kids and some of the ADHD kids listening, I know a lot of you are going to have a hard time keeping up. If he had $100,000, he would be paying it. So the next question becomes, what comes next? That's the next question, is what comes next? Well, I want to tell you how he got here. Because I was doing some investigation into it, and once again, we're going to Rolling Stone once again, and I saw this article. Now, I had seen this article previously before, but this article from Rolling Stone was something that I wanted to cover before. This was by Amy Wang back in January 2019. So a month ago, this article was done. R. Kelly hasn't really been dropped by anyone in music. Now, I'm going to skip forward here a little bit through the article because they talk about how he was dropped by Sony, RCA, and whatnot. But I want to skip forward a little bit here. And it says, though the details of the split between Kelly and his label have not come to light, a record company letting go of an artist typically just means it won't release music from them in the future. Yet both parties will continue to profit off of all past music releases as long as those releases are in distribution. It is unusual for splits to result in a label releasing the rights of a back catalog, which would cut off its revenue stream from that catalog, sources say. Quote, I don't know if anybody knows exactly what dropping R. Kelly means. Presumably, Sony and RCA will continue to distribute his back catalog, and the royalties will continue to flow as they were. Lisa Alter, a top music attorney who specializes in copyright law, tells Rolling Stone. Moreover, the split may have actually resulted in an unanticipated extra payout for Kelly. Quote, if the label had a contractual obligation to release additional material and didn't want to do it, it might make a financial settlement with the artist because otherwise they could be potentially sued by the artist for that loss of income, Alter says. The exact worth of those unreleased albums is a number negotiated between the two parties, and high-profile artists are rumored to have commanded payouts in the millions in the past. Now, here's the key part I want you to listen to.
Yeah, this is the cutting edge on RFM where I go through the pieces of why black men always end up broke and trapped. And the brethren are evil. We look at the Jamaican situation where a whole heap of artists in a Jamaica end up broke too, with all the big hits and the touring and them thing there. End up broke. When them dead, them don't have no money, them family don't have no money to bury them. Them have to put up putting at this account for help with the funeral of such and such an artist. It's a reality. It's a reality. And the reality, buck up R. Kelly, as we say, buck up Bill Cosby, chance, we just say there's some almost conspiracy. And we don't really like to talk about conspiracy, but there's almost some conspiracy where white men in America is guilty of the same crimes, but them not as pronounced as when we hear man like Bill Cosby and R. Kelly and you name them. This is the cutting edge and RFM. The time is 12 o'clock.
Brothers and sisters, this is Charlie. Join us with respect for our national anthem. Let us stand and defend this one. Peace and love.
That was the setup. Here's the part I want you to remember. Kelly indeed had 2 albums left on his contract with RCA, according to Don Russell, an advisor and consultant for the artist, who tells Rolling Stone that several other record labels, he wants everybody to be happy. When approached about its relationship with R. Kelly, Universal Music Publishing Group. So Universal Music, Kelly, as some reports have suggested over the weekend, would again be incorrect. While Universal Music Publishing Group may not publicly represent Kelly on his songwriting roster, the company is still responsible for distributing his past work, which totals some 681 songs, according to the list registered with BMI, one of the major U.S. performing rights organizations that collects licensing fees for songwriters. Universal Music Publishing says, since UMPG continues to own of existing compositions, it will presumably continue to publish those compositions, profit from the exploitation of the works, and pay R. Kelly royalties pursuant to the underlying agreement. Well, I guess that clears things up now, doesn't it? For the ADHD kids, the Ritalin babies, and the crack pipe babies and lead pipe babies who want to pretend that they understand what's going on, that's the real state of R. Kelly's music catalog. Robert Kelly does not own his music catalog. Owns R. Kelly's music catalog.
You know, so I have to pause this a little, you know, because this thing has strike a chord with so much artists in Jamaica. I want to know how much artists and musicians listen to this conversation. So the master tape we are talking about, where you only put your tune pan originally. Because nowadays producers now put music pan on master again in them computer, pan a hard drive. Because that is where the technology they know. Now we are telling the artists them. We are telling the artists them out there who just a come or who they and don't understand certain thing. Make sure say the master are yours, you know. No make a man put your tune on the computer and hold it there and then a film tune because I him record, you know. No go so. Nowadays, because producers nowadays now pay people royalty. Producer tell me already, say, watch your motor. All the thing run now, you know, is sure the artist making money off her. No matter how much time him hear him tune a play. And the so-called producer collect the money nowadays, you know. Yes, the producer sign up your tune like, say, a film tune. And look here how much. If you hear your tune for a year, you're $1,000,000 time. If you don't copyright that, you can't do anything. I tell you, say, boy, right now, they look, you know, to say you have the whole heap of show. I tune, me produce a tune why you have so much show. Well, this I tell you now about one of the biggest R&B artists ever. 600 odd tune, him no own nothing. Him not own nothing. This should have jolt a whole heap of man for going really gear up themselves for tomorrow morning. Because if be in a situation like that, and me I hear this on my radio. You could have deal tomorrow morning, me I go find somebody to fix it. Yes.
Didn't say some of it. They said they own the whole damn 681 songs. I'm assuming that means everything he's written, everything he has performed, written, produced, or co-starred. R. Kelly's entire catalog. So even back during the early Deviant days when he came out, Vibe and Honey Love and all of that, they own it. And R. Kelly has to go to the mailbox and get a check down the line. That means he has never, do you understand? This means R. Kelly has never in the last 22, 23 years had the money to purchase his masters or publishing. He's never had the money. No, they didn't rob him. I'm so sick of this. I'm tired of dumb niggas saying stupid mess. None of these people ever got robbed. R. Kelly is a voluptuous, perpetually stays on tour. No wonder R. Kelly is just perpetually on tour. And I will tell you something else. I don't think R. Kelly's really got a bank account to speak of. I don't think he does. I think that R. Kelly has been dealing in cash his entire adult life. It's all about cash. Everything he does is in cash. He's got very little as far as a bank account is concerned. He has had absolutely no financial advisement whatsoever. According to his own attorney, he is a victim of his own mismanagement, groupies and bum niggas hanging off of him with him paying for entourages and making a bunch of bad deals. I'll tell you one bad deal: when you keep got paying off these mothers, single mothers of these underage gals that they keep pimping out to you, that gets expensive. That gets expensive very quickly. Now, I want to go a little bit further, and I want to demonstrate how it is that you can sit here and undermine yourself. And I say this tonight as a cautionary tale to all black people in general, but all black men in specific, since we are targeted by a system and they send out nothing but black women to go after Jussie Smollett and R. Kelly. So black men, understand the situation that you really are in. I want you to listen to exactly what they said here in an article from the Chicago Sun-Times. Now, here's what they said about the case against him. And I want to make sure I've got this all together. It says, Robert Sylvester Kelly stared at the ground as Assistant State's Attorney Jennifer Gonzalez read off a proffer of the evidence against him in 4 separate cases, each involving a different victim, consisting of 10 counts of alleged sexual abuse that took place between 1998 and 2010. The first case Gonzalez outlined took place in 2003, with the victim identified as a 24-year-old hairdresser who went to Kelly's near North Side studio to braid his hair. When she arrived, now listen to the way they phrased this. When she arrived, Kelly walked in with his pants down and said he didn't want his hair braided, but he wanted a massage, and pointed to his penis, Gonzalez said. Now notice the article didn't say allegedly. With Jussie Smollett, the articles kept saying allegedly. Articles don't say allegedly. I just want to remind you of that. For Jussie Smollett, everything is an alleged hoax. Alleged. As soon as you get somebody who ain't gay, all of a sudden it ain't alleged no more. With Bill Cosby, it wasn't alleged. Just thought I'd point that out. Kelly then to give him oral sex. Kelly masturbated a match for Kelly. So you're talking about, in this case here, this is 16 years ago. You all thought that Monica Lewinsky was nasty for holding on to that dress for a year. This chick has been holding on to this shirt. Seaman, she's been holding on to this shirt now for 16 years. Insurance policy. Hold on to that shirt. This is an insurance policy, and we can say whatever we want to say. It doesn't matter how old you were or anything. We'll hold on to this shirt, and we can say whatever we want to say. Now he's got to prove it's not true. We can prove that he had sexual contact with you. He's going to have to prove that you weren't underage at the time. That's a hell of a spot to be in. The second case, comprising 4 counts of sexual abuse, involved a girl who said she met Kelly at her 16th birthday party. An associate of the singer allegedly passed the girl a card with Kelly's personal number on it and asked her to call Kelly. The girl, my daughter is 16 years old. Don't hand his phone number to her. Hand the phone number to me. And understand, this is the state's attorney. This is them saying it. Saying that they acknowledge what the mother did. Called Kelly and took a cab to his studio where the two had sex, Gonzalez said. To get an envelope of cash from a receptionist. The envelope contained a large sum of money. Now, I'm quoting Gonzalez now. The envelope contained a large sum of money, more than was needed to pay for 2 cab rides, Gonzalez said. So I don't know how much that means, but okay. That was the second, quote, victim. And her who's supposedly underage and naive, and yet they've been holding on to R. Kelly's DNA on their shirts for over a decade. Over a decade. And you mean to tell me this is not the definition of a conspiracy? How does an underage kid sit up here and do that? You snuck out from your mom, but you made sure to hold on to the shirt and keep it for over a decade? Understand, you live in a system that will aid and abet you in targeting black men, and the females know it. Story goes on to say that story was identical to the account of a relationship Geronda Pace gave in the Surviving R. Kelly documentary. JP, by the way. So the third victim, they gave the initials JP, but they're saying that story was identical to the account of a relationship Geronda Pace gave in the Surviving R. Kelly documentary. Sure, we shouldn't call it scamming R. Kelly at this point. I digress. Pace, who said in the documentary she was 16 the first time she had sex with Kelly, was in the courtroom gallery Saturday. The fourth victim, whom Kelly's lawyers surmised was the same victim in Kelly's 2008 trial, was alleged filmed having sex with Kelly on a videotape obtained by a, quote, witness who was asked in 2001 by Kelly and his associates to locate sex tapes of the singer. The victim, RL, was identified on the tape by her aunt, Gonzalez said, which showed the pair having sex and the victim repeatedly saying she is 14 years old. Notably, prosecutors said the videotape referenced in the current charges was not the same one presented as
9574192.
Ray!
Breaking news! Cold Air Refrigeration and Kitchen Maintenance Limited is offering to service all your mini-split air conditioners for one flat low rate of $2,000. And not only that, get your fridges and cold rooms serviced for $3,500. Your extractor fans and gas ranges serviced for only $2,500 each. And your deep fryers serviced for only $3,000. We'll also freeze this price for an entire
pornography case. The statute of limitations for these kinds of crimes was extended precisely because a child sex victim may not come forward in a timely manner, McKay said. Kelly's supporters seated in the court gallery were Azriel Clary and Jocelyn Savage, the two women living with the singer whose parents have claimed are being held against their will. Clary's parents have said they have had little to no contact with their daughter in the past 3 years. In almost half a decade, yeah, you're parents of the year. And if your daughter is going off with R. Kelly, yeah, you're parents of the year, all right. Both women were initially seated one row in front of Clary's father, but later moved up a row and ignored his attempt to speak with his daughter. Speaking to the media after the hearing, high-profile attorney Michael Avenatti, high-profile ambulance chaser, who by the way, he should be worried about was, quote, shielded from Angelo and Alice Clary by Kelly's associates. Quote, now this is Avenatti, scumbag lawyer. Their daughter has been brainwashed by Mr. Kelly and his handlers. Forget this jackass. So you're saying now, first we're brainwashing minors, now we can brainwash grown people? So grown people aren't able to make their own choices. But I want you to think about that for just a few moments here. I want you to think about that. No, I mean, understand something here. And by the way, technically it's not pedophilia, it's sex with underage girls. Pedophilia usually is defined by like the age of 12 and younger. But still, is it criminal? Yeah. Is it deviant as hell? Yeah. Does he deserve to go to jail? I think so. But I want you to take a look at this. Do you all realize in the exact same city of Chicago, we can't get them to charge the police when we can catch the crime on video? You have to take years to get that, and they got this done in weeks. The Chicago Police Department, if they want to find a suspect, they can find them. If they want to arrest a suspect, they can arrest them. And if they want to prosecute a suspect, they can prosecute them. If a police officer murders an unarmed black person and he's still walking the streets, it isn't because they need months and years to put together a case. They're not doing it because they don't want to prosecute the case. I submit to you, based on what we've seen so far, that Kim Foxx is the black face of white supremacy. And just like her white predecessors, she's able to get done what she wants to get done. She's able to make happen what she wants to make happen. And I want this to serve as a cautionary tale to all black people and specifically black men. I want this to serve as a cautionary tale. Because the reason that this kind of thing has been able to happen is because as a group, get away with murder. Shonda Rhimes has already made that into a television show. I'm not here to defend R. Kelly. I am here to say to black people, you live in a system that grinds black men into hamburger every day for crimes they did not commit. And you need to study the means by which they have selective outrage and they selectively apply the law so that you can understand what you need to do to lessen the likelihood of you being trapped up in it. I'm talking about starting with his mom and his dad and his kinfolk. When you do not raise your sons to be wise, you raise your sons to be slaughtered. If you do not raise your sons to be wise, you have raised your sons to be slaughtered. And this man, after 2.5 decades in the music business, after making hundreds of millions of dollars for the white record companies, doesn't even own his own music catalog. Doesn't even own it. Understand something, no matter what nasty circumstances under which she has children. Or rat, he's been laying up with just any old chick who comes through. This chick is 16 years old. Your man done gave her mammy your card. I don't believe he gave it to the girl. I believe he gave it to the mother. However they got it. And next thing you know, she's on her way to your studio. Whoa. Whoa. No. I don't care how old they are. You don't just sit up here and give somebody your number. And brothers, you can't do that anymore. Your fathers could do it and your grandfathers could do it because we had patriarchy. But today, American society is run by whorehouse rules. The courts are calibrated against black men to execute whorehouse rules. So they are going to make very, very sure. They're going to make very, very sure that if there's a way to twist this or corrupt this to catch you up, the white men are going to skate through. For white men, they're